Welcome to Lights Gone On, with David inviting you into a tribute space where remarkable lives are remembered with honor and warmth. This channel shines a light on iconic figures from film, music, sports, and culture whose presence shaped generations. Through each story, we celebrate their impact, cherish their memory, and keep the spirit of their legacy glowing for years to come. Before superheroes became global cinema icons, comic books were shaped by a small group of writers who changed how stories were told. Among them was Gerry Conway, a writer whose work helped bring deeper emotion, consequence, and realism into superhero storytelling, shifting the genre away from purely idealized fantasy. Gerry Francis Conway was born on September 10, 1952 in New York City and grew up in Brooklyn. Surrounded by a lively urban environment, he developed an early interest in storytelling. As a child, he didn't just read comic books for entertainment. He studied how they worked, paying attention to character voices, pacing, and visual storytelling. By his teenage years, he was already focused on writing and creating his own narratives. He entered the professional comic industry at a very young age and quickly became one of the youngest writers working with Marvel Comics. His early success came from a distinct storytelling style that emphasized emotion and character depth, rather than simple hero versus villain plots. One of his most influential contributions was a storyline in Spider-Man involving the death of Gwen Stacy, which introduced a lasting sense of consequence into mainstream superhero comics. He also co-created The Punisher, a character known for operating in morally complex territory, which added a darker dimension to the genre. Beyond comics, he later worked in television, continuing to focus on character-driven storytelling across different formats. Throughout his career, he remained more focused on writing than public attention, building a long and respected body of work. Gerry Conway passed away on April 27, 2026, at the age of 73. His cause of death was not publicly shared. He is remembered for reshaping superhero storytelling and leaving a lasting influence on modern comics, films, and television narratives. Fiona Frances McDonald, born 27th May 1957, was a well-loved Australian television presenter remembered for her warmth, energy, and natural connection with audiences. She became widely known in the 1980s when she joined the children's program Wombat, where her friendly and approachable style made her a familiar face in many households. She later gained further recognition as the host of the Australian version of It's a Knockout, where her lively presenting helped define the show's playful tone and made her stand out in entertainment television of that era. Raised in the rural town of Blackall in Queensland, she grew up on a cattle property with her family, including her sister Jackie McDonald, who also went on to build a career in television. Those early regional experiences contributed to her grounded personality and down-to-earth presence on screen, something viewers often connected with. After stepping back from regular television presenting, she explored a variety of other interests. She developed knowledge in wine and worked in media and writing, including editorial contributions to publications such as Waroni. This shift reflected her versatility and curiosity beyond broadcasting. Fiona Frances McDonald has since passed away, with the cause of death not publicly disclosed. She is remembered for her genuine warmth, adaptability, and the lasting impression she left on Australian television audiences. Frederick Colin Peterson was an Australian musician and actor whose early career placed him within the vibrant wave of 1960s rock music. Born on the 24th of March 1946, he developed his skills as a drummer while performing with bands such as Steve and The Board, and later Humpy Bong. These experiences helped him grow as a steady and adaptable musician during a time when popular music was rapidly evolving. He later joined the Bee Gees during a transitional phase for the group, contributing as their drummer. Although his time with them was relatively brief, he was part of an important period in their development. As the band shifted its lineup and musical direction, Peterson eventually left in 1969. During the recording of the 1970 project Cucumber Castle, he was replaced on drums, and much of his involvement was not prominently credited or included in related film material. Even so, his participation remains a subtle part of the band's broader history. After his time with the Bee Gees, he continued working in music, but stayed mostly out of the spotlight, maintaining a quieter presence in the industry. He passed away at the age of 78, and the exact cause of death has not been publicly shared. His journey is remembered as that of a dedicated musician who contributed to a formative era of popular music. Chauncey Glover, a former ABC 13 anchor who passed away at the age of 39, was remembered as a talented journalist and a deeply committed community mentor. According to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner, his death was ruled accidental and linked to acute intoxication involving a combination of substances. He was found unresponsive at his home on November 5, 2024, while working with KCBS and KCAL in Los Angeles, after previously spending several impactful years at ABC 13 in Houston, from 2015 to 2023. Born and raised in Athens, Alabama, Glover developed an early passion for broadcasting, encouraged by his family and a childhood fascination with news reporting. He went on to study broadcast journalism, music and theatre at Troy University, building a strong foundation for his career in television news. Over the years, he earned recognition for his storytelling skills and received multiple Emmy Awards for his work. Before his time in Houston, he worked in cities including Detroit, Columbus, and Jacksonville, steadily growing as both a reporter and a trusted on-air presence. Beyond journalism, he was deeply involved in mentorship work through the Chauncey Glover Project, a program focused on guiding young men toward education, discipline, and leadership. His family and colleagues described him as a warm and inspiring presence who made a lasting difference in many lives. Born on January 28, 1926 in San Diego, California, he grew up in Tijuana, Mexico, where his early environment shaped both his personality and ambitions. From a young age, his life moved between cultures and influences, giving him a unique identity that later reflected in his work on screen. He briefly attended college but left before finishing, choosing instead to follow a far more dangerous and uncertain path in bullfighting. That decision nearly ended his life after he suffered a severe injury in the ring, forcing him to abandon the sport. This turning point became the start of a new chapter. After recovering, he gradually shifted toward acting, where he discovered a more lasting purpose. By the early 1960s, he had already begun building a steady career in cinema, including appearances in historical and action-driven films that helped establish his screen presence. Over time, he became a familiar face in both Mexican and international productions, known for his strong physical presence and versatility. In his personal life, he was first married to Leonor Plaza, though the marriage later ended in divorce. He later married Blanca Estela Limon, who also worked in the artistic field and supported his career. In his later years, he settled in California, living a quieter life away from the screen. He passed away in Coronado, California, at the age of 98. No official cause of death was publicly shared. His life is often remembered as one shaped by risk, reinvention, and persistence, moving from the bull ring to a long and respected film career. Denzel Washington was born in 1954 in Mount Vernon, New York, into a home shaped by discipline, faith, and structure. His father was a Pentecostal minister, a man whose life revolved around scripture, responsibility, and moral guidance, while his mother ran a beauty salon and carried a strong, practical authority that shaped the household. Together, they created an environment where expectations were high and values were non-negotiable, even if emotional warmth was sometimes expressed more through discipline than softness. As a child, Denzel grew up observing this balance of spirituality and toughness, absorbing lessons about respect, responsibility, and consequence long before he understood their deeper meaning. However, beneath the structure of his upbringing, life was not without tension, and as he grew older, the separation of his parents created a fracture that would shape his emotional direction in ways he did not fully recognize at the time. The stability of his early years gave him grounding, but the shift that followed forced him to begin interpreting life on his own terms, especially as the world outside his home became louder, more unpredictable, and far more influential. Adolescence and the pull of environment. When Denzel Washington entered his teenage years, the environment around him began to shape his perception of life in ways he was only starting to understand. Mount Vernon was not simply a hometown, it was a living, breathing force of contrasts where opportunity and risk often existed side by side on the same streets. After his parents separated, the structure that once held his life together weakened, leaving him to interpret the world with less guidance and more exposure. Like many young people in similar environments, he found himself standing at an emotional crossroads where direction was not clearly defined and influence came from everywhere at once. The streets offered a sense of identity that felt immediate and socially engaging, but it was also misleading in its simplicity. Looking back, he has acknowledged that this period carried the possibility of a very different path, shaped heavily by frustration, peer influence, and uncertainty about belonging. What defined this stage most was not rebellion in its loudest form, but vulnerability in its quietest expression. A young mind trying to understand where it fits in a world that feels faster than its clarity. Every decision carried weight, yet was often shaped more by environment than intention, revealing how deeply surroundings can influence identity before self-awareness fully develops or stabilizes. Structure, discipline, and direction. The turning point in Denzel Washington's early life came when his mother made a decisive choice that would quietly reshape his future. Recognizing that his environment was becoming increasingly unpredictable, she enrolled him in a military-style boarding school where structure replaced instability and routine replaced uncertainty. The transition was not easy, as the strict discipline initially felt restrictive compared to the freedom he had known in his neighborhood. However, over time, the environment began to reshape not just his habits, but his internal framework. Daily routines taught him consistency, expectations taught him accountability, and consequences taught him awareness of actions and outcomes. More importantly, the environment forced him to develop resilience, learning how to carry responsibility even in discomfort. This was not simply about obedience or correction, it was about shaping character through repetition and discipline. Slowly, he began to understand that growth often emerges from structure rather than freedom alone, especially when freedom lacks direction. These formative experiences became deeply embedded in how he approached life later on, influencing his work ethic, preparation, and emotional control. What initially felt like restriction gradually transformed into foundation, giving him tools that would remain relevant far beyond his teenage years. In retrospect, this phase was less about control and more about construction, building a version of himself capable of enduring pressure while maintaining clarity and direction. Discovery of purpose and early artistic path. During early adulthood, Denzel Washington began to move beyond structure and discipline into a phase of exploration and self-discovery. He enrolled in college, initially pursuing journalism, not because he had fully defined his purpose, but because he was drawn to communication and understanding how stories shape perception. At that stage, clarity was still forming and his direction was not fixed, but evolving through exposure and experience. It was during this period that acting entered his life almost unexpectedly, offering a space where emotion, identity, and storytelling could merge into a single expressive form. Unlike structured academics, acting allowed him to explore human experience in a way that felt both personal and expansive. The shift toward performance was gradual, shaped by curiosity rather than certainty, but over time it became clear that this was not a passing interest. After transferring into formal acting training, he committed fully to developing his craft, eventually entering a conservatory environment where discipline met creativity. These early years were defined not by recognition, but by repetition, rejection, and persistence. He faced financial limitations, competitive auditions, and uncertainty, yet continued to refine his approach. Even without external validation, there was a growing internal awareness that his path was forming with intention, not randomness, guided by consistency and quiet determination. Early career and gradual recognition. Denzel Washington's early professional journey in acting was built on gradual progress rather than sudden success. He began with smaller roles in theatre and television, where consistency and discipline became more important than visibility. One of his earliest significant opportunities came through television work that provided stability and allowed him to refine his skills in a structured environment. These roles did not immediately establish him as a major figure, but they revealed key qualities, presence, reliability, and emotional depth that gradually distinguished him from others. Over time, filmmakers and critics began to notice his ability to bring authenticity to characters without overstatement or exaggeration. His performances carried a grounded intensity that made even smaller roles feel meaningful and fully realized. This period of his career was defined by accumulation rather than acceleration, where each opportunity built upon the last, forming a foundation for more significant work in the future. Unlike rapid rise narratives, his journey reflected steady development shaped by patience and persistence. There was no sudden transformation, but rather a continuous process of refinement that allowed him to grow into his craft naturally. Each step forward reinforced the idea that long-term success in acting is not defined by speed, but by depth, consistency, and the ability to remain committed even when recognition is not immediate. Rise to major recognition. As Denzel Washington transitioned into film, his career began to expand rapidly, bringing him into a new level of visibility and recognition. His performances stood out for their emotional weight, precision, and controlled intensity, qualities that made him increasingly sought after in major productions. Critical acknowledgement soon followed, with award nominations highlighting his ability to portray layered and complex characters with authenticity. His work in historical and dramatic films marked a significant turning point, positioning him among the most respected actors of his generation. What made him distinctive was not just talent, but control, the ability to deliver powerful emotion without excess and authority without exaggeration. As his reputation grew, so did the expectations placed upon him, as audiences and industry professionals began to see him as a consistent standard of excellence. This rise brought both opportunity and pressure, as visibility increased scrutiny and required constant balance between artistic integrity and public expectation. Despite this, he maintained a steady approach to his craft, choosing roles that aligned with his principles rather than simply pursuing popularity. Over time, he became a central figure in modern cinema, respected not only for his performances, but for the discipline and consistency that shaped his career trajectory from its earliest stages. Fame, responsibility, and personal challenges. As Denzel Washington's recognition expanded, the world he moved through became larger, louder, and far more demanding than anything he had previously experienced. Fame brought opportunity, but it also introduced a constant pressure that required emotional balance and careful self-awareness. Every new role, every public appearance, and every professional decision carried expectations that extended beyond performance into perception. At the same time, he was navigating a deeply important part of his life at home, balancing marriage, fatherhood, and the responsibilities that come with raising a family while working in an industry that rarely pauses. This dual existence created moments where personal and professional worlds inevitably overlapped, requiring him to constantly adjust, reflect, and recenter himself. Like many individuals in high-visibility careers, he experienced periods where time, attention, and emotional energy were stretched in different directions, making balance something that had to be consciously maintained rather than naturally sustained. Over time, he began to speak more openly in reflection about how fame introduces pressures that are not always visible from the outside, especially in how it affects identity, relationships, and personal grounding. Yet what defines this stage is not breakdown or instability, but awareness, the recognition that success requires more than achievement. It requires responsibility inwardly as well as outwardly, particularly when living under constant observation and expectation from the world. Reflection, faith, and realignment. As his career matured, Denzel Washington began to shift his focus inward, placing greater importance on reflection, faith, and personal alignment. This was not a sudden transformation, but a gradual deepening of values that had been present since childhood. Faith, which had always been part of his upbringing, became more central in his adult life as a source of grounding and clarity. It provided him with a framework to interpret success, responsibility, and purpose in a way that extended beyond professional achievement. During this phase, he described moments of recommitment where he chose to recenter his life around principles that guided his decisions more than external expectations ever could. This realignment did not remove ambition, but it redefined it, shifting focus from recognition toward meaning and stability. His approach to work and life began to reflect a more integrated perspective, where career decisions were not only evaluated by success, but by alignment with personal values. This stage marked a deeper understanding of identity, where fulfillment was no longer measured purely by output or visibility, but by internal consistency and purpose. Over time, this perspective allowed him to navigate both success and challenge with greater clarity, reinforcing the idea that stability is not accidental, but built through continuous intention and self-awareness in every stage of life. Legacy and continuing influence. Today, Denzel Washington is widely regarded as one of the most respected and consistent figures in modern cinema, with a career defined not only by performance, but by discipline, longevity, and integrity. His legacy extends far beyond awards or box office success, reflecting a sustained commitment to excellence over several decades. What makes his journey particularly enduring is the balance between talent and character, where artistic ability is matched by personal discipline and thoughtful decision-making. He represents a rare example in the entertainment industry, where success has not been defined by momentary recognition, but by long-term consistency and grounded values. His influence continues to shape younger generations of actors who see in his career a model of how to build longevity without compromising identity or principles. Beyond the screen, his presence in public life reflects a sense of responsibility toward craft, storytelling and mentorship, showing that achievement carries meaning when paired with integrity. His journey is often referenced not only as a story of success, but as an example of stability within an unpredictable industry. Ultimately, his legacy is defined less by individual milestones and more by the structure of his entire career, which demonstrates that true influence is built slowly, maintained carefully, and sustained through discipline, purpose, and a clear sense of self over time.